Barbara. It says sunny. Maybe this clouds will burn off. We will see. Good morning. It's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. I will confess this is take 2. I just was so rambly and it was such a long video, and I just thought it would be easier to start over than to try to edit that one into something that would be manageable. So I'm starting over, and keep your fingers crossed. But if this is a half an hour, it means I did not succeed. Anyway, look what I did. I finished the hat. This is the 2x2 hat by Anne. And, you know, I did so many of these hats at one time. I'm pretty sure it's like Anne Gagnon, but it's only NG on this. And I will have to look on Ravelry to see if it's some, but I think it's like Gagnon, something like that. But anyway, it's a 1-page, no wonder I can't do it in short time. 1-page hat. It's really easy. It's fun. This is for charity. This is made out of Knit Picks Brava. And I had some plan to do quite a few hats, and then I didn't do them. And I sent all my Knit Picks Brava to Juanita, and she's making it into charity hats, so it worked out great. But I was in the very end of this one, so I finished it. Thank you, Karen. Karen had said to send it to her. She's got a package going out to charity that would make good use of it, so I'm going to send it to her to do. I have a friend who liked it, and I said, well, I'll make her a hat. So I will be making a hat for a friend soon, trying to get her to pick a color other than gray. But this one's going to charity. And I finished it, and I'm wearing it because my hair looked so terrible in the video yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I think I'll be either figuring out a different angle for this camera, or I will be wearing hats all the time. In fact, now might be a good time to try that new angle thing and see if that works. I think that's a better angle. So even when I look down, I'm not looking quite so... You're not looking quite so much at the top of my head like you were yesterday. So maybe I'll try this, except this means I'm a little far away from my table. Maybe I'll come up with a different angle. There, you're still getting my yarn. Now you're getting my closet door. I'm closer to my table, and I'm still getting the light. So this might work, because that other angle, that was a no-go. I'm going to have to be wearing a hat every episode. But anyway, luckily I have a finish, and so, ta-da! So this is going out next week when I mail my packages. The other whip that I worked on this for about I don't know how long, an inch, for about an inch. And I need to try these on. They're feeling like they're a little bit small. I did not continue exactly with the pattern, but I did, you know, a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I'm not in love with these, and little foreshadowing, I found another pair that I want to do more when I went through my whips, which I did in take 1, so you will see in a minute. So that's what I did yesterday crafting wise. I went shopping yesterday and bought yarn for my unicorn sweater for Samantha that I am going to be making. Now she's a purple girl. And I went to Michael's because I wasn't that thrilled with the choices in Joann when I went there to get Isabel's yarn. So I went to Michael's thinking maybe it would be better. Now, they have a bigger selection, I think. Maybe not even, to tell you the truth. But not great. In the size of yarn that I was looking for. Now, I don't know what size yarn I am looking for because, of course, they do it differently than other people, but this was listed, they call it light, and I think it's probably maybe a sport weight. That's my guess. Anyway, it says for a size 6 needle, which is what the pattern calls for. So I got this. Then I got home and had second thoughts because I was afraid this lilac might not be purple in Samantha's eyes. So I took a picture of it and sent it to Jason and Allison and said, is this purple enough for a sweater for Sammy, or is it too light? They both thought she would love it. So I'm very happy. So I got that. And then for the alternate colors, I got pink, yellow, blue for the, and then white. Now, most of these kinds of yarns, the yellow is bamboo. Oh, the yellow and the dark blue are bamboo. I did not have a lot of selection. This was sort of in the baby department. Like this yarn is for babies. Actually says babies. So it doesn't come in vibrant colors, because apparently babies don't like vibrant colors. Wrong. But anyway, I like this color, and Jason and Allison thought Samantha will like this color. So this is the purple that the sweater will be made out of, and I'm very excited. So I will be starting that very shortly. And my friend, I will be starting a hat. Whether I do the 2x2 or something else, I will decide. Maybe I'll have a conversation with her, so it's something that she wants. But, cable couldn't go wrong. And so that's what I'm working on. Thought I heard a phone. I'm not sure whether or not this boxy was in my sweater parade, so I'm going to show it to you. This is a boxy. This is a boxy by Joji Locatelli, and this is the second one that I kept. This is made from eco-dyed sock blanks from Maria Ninja Chickens. I think there are 4 in here, because of course it's a giant sweater. But I didn't knit it right off the sock blank, and it has this wonderful texture. And I've only washed it a couple times, so it still has that texture. I think eventually that texture will leave, but that's sort of the sock blank texture in there that I kind of love. So in my first take, I went and grabbed 3 bags off of my whip pile. The first one is in this cute little bunny bag. This was a little Bobbins bag. I don't think she's selling things anymore. And it broke. The zipper broke off, but I still love it. It's just charming. So this is a sock, and I had talked to you. I had mentioned Flexi Flips. Oh, maybe that was in the Zoom call I talked about Flexi Flips because I couldn't think of what they were called. Floppy flips, whatever. Anyway, Flexi Flip needles. And this is my favorite. This is a lovely pattern. I was going to say it's my favorite pattern, but that's the other socks. Lovely pattern called My Dearest, Loveliest Elizabeth by Knitterarian Ruth McKean. And these are really charming socks. And you can't really see, you can't see on the picture, thus terrible picture. And you can't see very well in this yarn because of the yarn. But this is a sweet little detail where it, picks up like little flowers, picks up from lower rows or something, But I thought I would try Flexi Flips, and I didn't like them. I stopped here because I wasn't loving the Flexi Flips. This is the only single sock I've ever knit. And, yeah, not loving the Flexi Flips. So, but this yarn, I really, really, really like this yarn. And this yarn is a yarn that I talk about in my very first podcast. And I know it's my very first podcast because my friend Kay helped me and she doesn't knit. So I'm sure she only watched my first podcast and then that was that. It's possible it was my second podcast. But this yarn is Yakagani yarn. in the Connellsville Strong colorway. I just really love the way it's knitting up. I love the yarn. This was a fundraiser. She lives in Western Pennsylvania, and so this sock set was a fundraiser. They had a flood or something. It's got a contrasting heel and toe. And I really love that. And the reason I remember it was my first, because Kay helped me, because I had no idea how to pronounce Youghiogheny yarn. Youghiogheny. And I struggled for 10 minutes on that podcast trying to figure out, and I never got it right. And she told me how to pronounce it because she grew up in that area. Youghiogheny is apparently a river in Western Pennsylvania. So I've had this for a long time, the yarn, and then I don't know how long it's been a whip, how long ago I tried those flexi flips, but I was not a big fan of the flexi flips, and so I stopped doing this. But I think that the pattern is really charming. And this would make me smile. Now, you're never going to see it because of the yarn, but also I wear long pants. I don't wear my socks in the summer. I wear long pants. Nobody sees my socks. So this doesn't matter that you can't see it to me because I would just smile every time I put these on anyway. Except I only have one. Half of one. And these flexi flips. Now when I went and redid my needles the other day, I found the flexi flips box and I kept it. Even though it's a little smashed. Because I thought, I don't like those flexi flips. I'm going to come across them one of these days and maybe I'll give them away as a prize. So I don't see myself finishing this sock on these flexi flips, but I really like the yarn and I think the pattern's cute. So I could see myself knitting another one up to here and then putting them on doing them two at a time to finish them. I can imagine myself doing that because I'm really, really loving that yarn. So anyway, so I got that Youghiogheny yarn, what, 7 years ago now? About 6.5 years ago, 7.5 years ago? I don't know. How long have I been podcasting? So these are not going to be finished the way they're going. So those flexi flips are going back in their box, and I'll decide what I'm going to do with this half of a sock because I like the pattern, I like the yarn. Maybe I'll just knit a sock one at a time. I hate to do that though. It just feels so weird. So that's whip number 1. Whip number 2 has been in a whip parade before. I don't know what to do about it. And I just went on and on about how I don't know what to do about it on the first take. This is from a Stephen West mystery knit along. This is the border of one of his shawls, and I don't know which one. I'll have to go look it up because now I'm curious now that I've thought about it. Now I have taken it, put it on waste yarn because I left myself a note that I knit this on size 4 Licca needle, but which I have long ago recovered out of this. But I did leave myself a note, which is interesting. Now there's no pattern in here, so I don't know what the pattern is, and none of the yarn balls from the yarn are in here. So I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure this yarn is Toad Hollow yarn. I was a member of their, clubs a couple of times, and they made some very lovely springy colors. And these are the base colors for this shawl. And then it uses a ton of minis. Now the minis that I've been using on this, I remember pretty sure are from my first advent that I got from Legacy Fiber Arts. So I'm pretty sure that's what the minis are. Now my problem with this is, well, I don't know what the shawl is. There's no recovering that yarn from the minis. So I don't see any upside to taking it apart. I just, this is just crazy. And I find it really, really charming. I mean, every time, I think the reason it's still around is because I find it just so charming. So I think I will take Leslie's advice and probably some of the others of you advice, and try to figure out how to turn it into a cowl, because I find it extremely charming. It's got this zigzaggy edge. This is this live side still, and it's zigzaggy, and I don't know if it would be possible for me to figure out a way to match those zigzags. Is it possible for me to do that? Match those zigzags so that I could do that. So that I could put those together into a cowl. Now I think I might have to, well, I'll have to try it on and see. I was going to say I might have to make it a little longer before I do that, but maybe not. I don't know if that'll go over my head. If it won't go over my head, then I have to. And then it'll sit like this because it's smaller on the top now than it is on the bottom. Anyway, there's no point in taking it apart. I might recover some of the main color, but I'm not going to recover any of those little colors. It's really charming. So I might try to figure out a way to use this in some way. Maybe I'll go dig around and try to figure out what the pattern is. It's a mystery knitted along from, I don't know, 5 years ago. Stephen West. I'm sure it's a Stephen West mystery knit along. I'm sure, but I don't know which one. But it should be easy enough to find in my library. So I'm going to try to do that. So this is in a Crafty Toads bag. It has grommets. You can put your yarn through it. I don't ever do that, but it's pretty. So this has been through the whip parade before, and there's no point in frogging it because you know, you can't recover the yarn. So it still sits in the bag, basically, is what happens. My third whip that I'm showing you today is in this cute bag. This is a Valentine's bag. This was a Valentine gift from Ravelry. And Benta of Arctic crafted the yarn, and I am making Mercury socks. And the Mercury socks is one of my favorite patterns. So the Flexi Flips are the reason I stopped doing those other socks. The pattern was the reason I stopped doing the socks from yesterday. So I have no idea why I stopped making these, because these are one of my favorite patterns. Gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And look how far I am. I'm all the way up to the around the heel. So, driving myself crazy. I must have had something else I had to do and just lost momentum on these, because those are so far. The whole leg is done. And I got to where the heel's starting. Because of the contrasting, I think I'm just going to keep going on these and put in an afterthought heel with the red. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to work on these today. I'm going to take these downstairs. These are going to make me happy. The ones I worked on yesterday were okay, but you know, this is going to really make me smile. So I'm very excited that I found these again, and I will be working on these. These will make me happy. So thank you again, Valerie and Benta of Arctic Craft Yarn. This was like a Valentine package, and I think it, you know, came with the bag and everything. It was so sweet and lovely. And I am very far on those, and I am going to finish those. I need socks. I need socks. I have a bag of socks that have to be darned. I'm very happy to have socks on the go since I'm knitting. I mean, I sat and knit yesterday. I finished the hat and I've worked on those socks, and I just sat and knit, and I felt a little bit like a knitter. So, yeah, that was good. This hat is big. So there you go. So I'm not going to frog the Yakagani socks because I really like them. yarn, and I'm halfway through one of the socks. Will I change and put it on a different needle? I might do that. I might try the Flexi Flips again. I mean, I haven't knit socks in a very long time, so maybe it won't drive me crazy. But I have a tendency to like just drop when I'm done with something. You know, I use circular needles. Drop what you're doing and manipulate things. And, you know, when I switch to double points or those Flexi Flips, when I'm done with something, I drop it and it goes on the floor. So that's a problem for me. But I will try it and see. You never know. You never know. So I never did make the phone calls for Aura yesterday. So I have a couple phone calls to make today, I think. I don't have any plans to go out and about. I went grocery shopping yesterday and bought a dozen red peppers. So I will be helping Dennis roast red peppers today. That's one thing on the list. And do some knitting. I'm going to do some knitting, including starting a unicorn sweater and working on some socks. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all my plan for today. No more shenanigans with the cat. I think Aura kept him locked in the sitting room all day. She was really mad at him. Anyway, well, that's it. There's no hint that this is going to turn into a nicer day, but you never know. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, if I want this less than a half an hour, I'm going to have to stop rambling on. But I think I'm liking this because looking up, because everything I'm doing looking down, and then you were looking at the top of my head. Now, you're going to still kind of be looking at the top of my head when I look down, but I'm less likely to look down. I'll look sideways because the table's over there, so who knows? We'll see if this works. But anyway, thank you so much for all the, well, good wishes and support for my 1000th podcast vlog yesterday. Here we are, 1001, and thank you so much to everyone who is so supportive and so helpful to everyone else in this community. It's just really lovely. January 31st, so tomorrow is February. Tomorrow is February. The time marches on. It's really crazy. So our Zoom call in February is on the 25th, so we still have a few weeks, I'm afraid. But meanwhile, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for your support for me and for the others in the community. I cannot tell you how much it means to me. Please take good care of yourselves, and please, please stay safe and stay safe.